Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave Sports and Entertainment original presented by Prize Picks. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. It is Foxworth Friday. Domonique Foxworth, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? I was just getting excited because I also enjoy Foxworth Friday. So I was like, hey, it's back.
It's that time. It's that time. You know what I'm saying? Happy New Year to you. Are you a person that it has like a time window on Happy New Year?
No, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that falls into the category of is a hot dog a sandwich, something that people will spend effort on that, like, I get it. It's fun. It's cutesy. It's a little internet thing. I don't really give a shit. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Yeah. Like, I feel like that. And I also feel like, and maybe this is just a function of age, right? But as I get older, like I legitimately in that moment was feeling good. I was like, you know what? Happy New Year! Like I wanted to spread a little cheer. It's like it's like a Christmas aftershock, right? like after Christmas comes, you can just feel a little, hey, it ain't Christmas no more. But you know what? I know not everybody does Christmas, but you still know what I mean. It's get a little, hey, Happy New Year.
I mean, I appreciate it because it's like with any word or phrase, it's the sentiment that matters. Like the actual word itself don't piss me off. It's that you saying it in order to piss me off, that piss me off. And it's the same thing for like Happy New Year. Where you're like, no, I don't give a shit. If you say Happy New Year, if you say Happy Hanukkah, you say Happy Holidays, you say Happy MLK Day, it's about you want me to be happy right now. You genuinely wish that upon me. So that's what I appreciate. It's the thought that counts.
Well, watch what I'm about to do right fast. I am about to call our mutual friend, Ryan Cortez, who hates people saying Happy New Year after a point. And I just want people to hear the other side of this equation.
Oh, gosh.
God, I hope he picks up.
He probably with that dog.
Or he might be like at his job.
That is true. He does have a job. Job, it might be kind of awkward for him to pick up right now.
Could be. Oh, well. It's also possible that Ryan Cortez knows what I'm doing because I love to wait like until a time like this. Don't you worry. If he calls back during this show, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to check him out here. But Happy New Year to everybody. We got some NFL action this weekend. It's a lot going on with the playoffs. I just want to throw this out there about the NFL, and we're speaking while the fires are going on in California. We are taping on Thursday, so we don't know exactly what's going on. I just know it's been all bad. Wish everybody the best and safety, not just my people that work at Wave, but just all the folks out there, man. I know that this is a real tough situation. But I love this about the NFL, boy. They got that game on Monday night, the Vikings and the Rams. They playing that in Inglewood. And what we have learned about the NFL, they could very easily right now just say, hey, we're going to play this game in Arizona, right? Like, there's a lot going on over here. No, they going to wait, and they going to wait, and they going to wait until the last possible moment. Remember that time we thought it was a dead man, and they was still like, all right, let's suit them up. They are any sliver of hope that they possess to keep on going like nothing happened. They are going to keep on going like nothing happened.
You know what the NFL was on the verge of doing? He would have wanted us to finish this game. They was right on the verge of he loved football. This is what he would have wanted. They was on the verge. Let me tell you. So I don't need these current events to show me how much the NFL is committed to NFL. And I played in the NFL, as you know, and I remember there are certain things that, like, God and planet Earth, whatever you believe in, Mother Earth is so strong that it can shut down a lot of things. And so I'm in Denver, Colorado, and every so often, I mean, it snows in Denver pretty regularly, but what people don't know is like it's a lot of sunshine. So honestly, you can get 6 inches of snow in Denver today, and then tomorrow it could be gone, and they're not going to close school. They're not going to do nothing. They're used to it. And every like few years, you had one of them storms that shut everything down, like even shut down mass transit. And like, it's so bad that they not even out clearing the streets because they like, it's not going to stop. So we had one of those storms. It's snowing so hard that I shoveled my driveway, and by the time I get like 2 feet out, it's back filled up in my driveway. So I just go inside. We got an away game. You know what they did? They got the shovels out, or they got the plows out, picked these fools up, brought us to the airport. And I'm not done yet because back that it's pre 9/11, or no, actually it's after 9/11, but we are lightening the we aren't, because it's after 9/11, we aren't going through the airport. So They take us to the side airport. So we go to this little side airport thing. And these fools, the reason why you can't fly in storms oftentimes is because of the runway. These fools took plows out onto the runway, cleared the runway. We're 1 minute behind the plows. We are 1 minute behind the plows, taking off, because we got a game to get to, my brother. We got a game to get to, because there are probably other concerns like the equipment on the wings could freeze and all that, but they spraying that orange stuff, whatever color it is, it's like some de-icer stuff that's some, I'm sure, chemical that's gonna give everybody cancer. They spraying that all over the plane, and we on there. And they got like a little convoy of plows in front of us. Like, hey, we got a game to get to, guys. Everybody's in the airport all pent up, sleeping on top of each other. And we take off behind the plows like an action movie.
Look here, bro. The game is going to happen. Let me tell you who got a similar attitude on such things. Radio stations. But I worked on the radio in Raleigh. We got some kind of icy type of situation, like snow type of situation. Like, I've driven my car into a ditch before in North Carolina. I was able to get the bad boy out, but like, it can, the roads can get a little bit of a situation. And so it got a little icy. And I remember I called the job like, damn, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm not going to be able to drive. They were like, well, the Buzz van, which is a promotional vehicle, it has 4-wheel drive. And what do you know? Fast forward like 30 minutes, and I look outside, and my chariot awaits. It was breaking me to work.
In North Carolina, even these, I feel like I've been a bunch of places. Like when I was in Baltimore, we had a crazy snowstorm when I was a kid. When I was in Boston, there was like a crazy snowstorm when I was up there. And the most dangerous place is when you in a city that don't get much snow and they get a little bit of snow. It's much safer to drive around and move around in a city like Boston, no matter how much snow it is, because people are ready for it. They've experienced it. I can only imagine how nervous you were riding in the promotional vehicle with a dude who probably ain't accustomed to driving.
No. To be fair to him, it was my good buddy Mike Stangl. Stangl was from Pittsburgh, right?
Okay.
My concern was not whether I would be safe with him driving. My concern was with the all fucking audacity of showing up at my house and being like, you still coming to work. That was, I felt like you could have, you know what though? Nah, because anybody else that would have had to come would have been under the same circumstances. Yeah. Like, I'm out here trying to come up with all these reasons that somebody else should have been there. I was just being a country boy, and when the snow come in the country, that means everything shut down, right? Like, you remember when that inch of ice happened in Atlanta and shut the whole thing down, and everybody had the judgment, but they like, yo, if they had spent money on trucks for the snow, y'all would be complaining about that being a misappropriation of funds. No, this is just not supposed to happen here. But now it do.
That's one of the more annoying things is people who are from snowy places passing judgment on how difficult it is for other people in cities when you get a little bit of snow. Like, that annoys you. Like, man, y'all shut your city down for a couple inches? Hell yeah. Because what this city is not accustomed to? A couple of inches. Like, I don't know where you're from in Montana. If you dealt with some of the problems that happen in Atlanta, a lot of the things that happen in Atlanta, you'd be really concerned in Montana. So.
But I'd say there's a very, a small, comparison on this is, I live in a building where the elevator break a lot, right? And so the thing I have to, it all depends on what it means is on what floor you live on. So there are lots of buildings in New York that don't have elevators. They're called walk-ups, right? You'll hear people talk about this. It's 5th floor walk-ups, 4th floor walk-up, whatever it is. But that's what they do. They walk up and down the steps, okay? But when your building has an elevator and the elevator goes out, the building might as well be on fire as far as I'm concerned. I can't get out.
Yeah.
Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? I gotta go meet the delivery man outside. Damn. Like it's all these things that no. You're just simply going to have to take steps if it comes down to it. But that's how it feels, right? This game will be played in Phoenix. I feel very confident saying though for the NFL. Oh, hold on.
Uh-oh.
Ryan Cortez is called back. Hold on. Yo,
what's going on?
Just wanted to say Happy New Year, brother.
Really? Really, motherfucker? Bro, it's like fucking January 15th.
If it were January 15th, I would call you and say Happy Birthday, Martin Luther King. Instead, it is only January 9th.
That's offensive. I gotta tell you.
I know, and the best part of it is I'm doing the podcast, and I told Domonique Happy New Year, and he appreciated it. And I was like, I'm gonna call Ryan Cortez and watch what happens. And look here, Ryan Cortez is now on the right time, being Ryan Cortez.
I'm so pissed at you. I'm gonna call you after this.
Happy New Year, brother.
Okay, Domonique said Happy New Year.
Go to hell, thank you.
I told you what was going to happen, didn't I?
While he's annoyed, that's affection. That man loved that he got some brothers that want to get on his nerves. I was talking about that with a couple of my producers where I'm trying to explain to them, like, I'm roasting you because I love you. Yes. Like, this is why. Charlie is comfortable with that. Charlie joins in on the roast, but I think a couple of my other producers are learning that this is because you on the inside. You know who I wouldn't mess with like that? Somebody who I don't mess with like that.
Yeah. People I don't like, I just don't talk to. Yeah. That used to be the way that I defended my not so great communication skills as a younger person. Be glad I'm even talking to you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. You got a nickname that's based on something that you wore one time. That is called brotherhood. Like, right. That's what happens. And now for the rest of your life, that's your name.
Well, if it's the thing you wore one time, cool. If you keep finding new stuff to come up with, now we have embarked upon the space of bullying.
Yeah. But it doesn't end up with a bad. So the thing is, this particular producer got a new coat for Christmas. And I thought it was a nice coat because he's a very conservatively dressed guy normally. And this coat has some style to it. It had a little flair to it. So first I started by saying, I like that coat. I see you out here trying to do something with a new coat. And then I made a joke about the origin of the coat. And so then he became that. And it's like, I don't know if this is, I think it's okay. So it's a Native American print. And he's not a Native American man. He's a Caucasian man with a Native American print jacket, which is fly. So we went through a couple iterations of nicknames and finally came up with, you know what? We're going to call you Chief Wahoo. And then it turned from that to Coach Wahoo. And he's like a little bit offended by it, but I'm like, it's not insulting. It's consistent with a white man appropriating something. Like, it's perfect.
There we go. There we go. I was going to say, if it's offensive to someone, it would not be him.
No,
but you are correct.
Yeah. No, it is not. It is meant to be that we are pointing out that you are appropriating.
Well, it's kind of like that uncomfortable time where people made me want to defend Donald Trump. And that was when it was the allegation that Elizabeth Warren had been saying that she was a Native American and that she was not a Native American, and Donald Trump was calling her Pocahontas. And people were saying that Donald Trump was being racist. And I'm like, no, sir. No, he's not. Donald Trump is being hilarious. That's what he's doing right now. He was 100% on the money with that one.
Oh, gosh. This is something that I've told you this before about you that I find impressive, is you have an ability. And I mean, you're human, so I'm sure your biases creep in sometimes, but you have an ability to see situations for what they are. It take me a second, because when I see somebody I don't like doing something, I'm like, man, I know this about myself because it's subconscious most of the time. But initially, I'm like, that's wrong. I figure out why it's wrong before I realize the reason why I think it's wrong. But I've gotten better now to be like, all right, if that wasn't that person, would I be like, that's wrong? But you're right. That's just That's a good bit. That's just a good bit right there.
That's a good line. My buddy Joel from Missouri City, he's the guy that you described. Like, Joel can't stand Jimmy Butler. Anything Jimmy Butler does, Jimmy Butler could give $100,000 to the American Red Cross and even talk about how messed up the Red Cross is. Like, whatever it is.
He'll be out, yeah. He'll be out there. He just doing that for attention.
Yeah, I got to stay on Joel's good side, boy, because I'm telling you, I don't think there's any coming back once you wind up on the other side. And Joel is one of the nicest people either of us knows.
Yeah,
when it gets over there, though, boy, there's no coming back.
Although Jimmy Butler's hair right now, I would.
He has done more indefensible hair things than anybody I know. Jimmy engages, for somebody that I really rock with, Jimmy engages in more things that I find to be questionable on various levels than anybody else. And the hair stuff that he show up with, he be showing up with them perms and presses. You know what I'm saying? His dreadful taste in music.
I'm become a little bit more, I guess, progressive in my thinking, but I also still have a hard time with once you get to a certain age, you're like, in some things it's like, hey, that ain't for us no more. Like,
yes,
little highlights through your cornrows, that ain't for us no more once you over a certain age.
Look, I'm not the cornrows in general. After this age, I will tell you something that happened when I was a robust 21 years old, and I was at my parents' house without gainful employment. I was waiting on an internship to come through that eventually came through, but it had not come through, and I had no money. And my father walked in the door one day, and he handed me two $20 bills. And one of them, he said, was for gas. It was gas money. I said, appreciate you. And the other one, because I had cornrows at the time. The other one was for a haircut and was followed by the admonition to, quote, get a job, unquote. Which tied to another important axiom that my father had offered me in life, which was, you are too old to wear your eccentricity on top of your head.
It's incredible.
I think that's a great line, but where I am generally is less about the idea of the eccentricity on top of your head than this one. You're too old to have some shit in your hair. And whether that shit be grease, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whether it be some lye, whether it be some dye. I just don't feel like as man, nah. Like hair color, I mean.
In Jimmy's defense, I think, and far be it from me to tell your father what he meant, but I don't think that he fully meant you was too old to wear eccentricities on your head.
I couldn't afford to.
Yeah, it was like, maybe he was being nice, but like, look, bruh, you don't got a job and you round here, you can't be cornrow guy. You're going to have to shave it off and make everybody comfortable and hire you. And Jimmy Butler's not in that situation. He don't got to make nobody feel comfortable. Actually, it benefits him to make everybody uncomfortable, which is what the hell he is doing.
Yeah, I think two things can be true at once. I think my father believed both of the things that you are describing, that I couldn't afford it in his house, most certainly. But as far as principle went, he also believed that this is what it should be outside of the home. Like this is, I don't know what would have happened. Like if I had grown up in this era where everybody got these dreadlocks, I probably would have had these dreadlocks. I don't really know how that would have gone because my pops is real cool and real futuristic in a lot of ways. But I don't know if he was full on going for that. Like he liked Bob Marley, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Especially in that time of dreadlock growth where it ain't what's up.
Yeah.
That meantime, tween time.
That's a hell of a commitment. I never had cornrows because I couldn't make it through that stage where it's like a civil rights fro where it ain't. Yeah, it's you have enough hair to show people that you with the cause, but not so much for them to be threatened.
Yes.
Yeah, I could never get through that to the other side. And the few times I tried to grow my hair out, the pandemic's the furthest I ever made it, and that was by force.
So I realize that I got cornrows. It's the only thing that I could explicitly really say this about. I did it because everybody else was doing it. Like, as I really think about it and look back on it, I never wanted to go back. I was doing that, I think, just because everybody else was doing it.
You seem embarrassed to say that. Nothing wrong with that.
It's just not really the brand. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I get it, but I guess maybe I would say that maybe that's on one end of the spectrum, but the vast majority of the shit in our lives we do because everybody else is doing it. I guess just that one is more, a little bit more unique.
I guess I don't think I liked it. I think that's that's the part. The other thing, and what impresses me, I don't even know what impresses me, blows me away about all these adults at this point with these various incarnations of cornrows. Like, you remember what we would have said about somebody? Like, it was genuine with the cornrows on the top and nothing on the sides. Like, that stood out as kind of wild, right? But these, now. Everything's a look now. You can do whatever you want at this point. I just don't know how they got this kind of time, especially with like intricate designs. Yeah. Like, how y'all got that much time for all that sitting around getting braided up?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a cutoff point somewhere where I think the internet became like so like ubiquitous and culture wise that I think it decided some things for people. And I think for us, we are on the other side of that because I think I'm right at that line because I have people that are just around my age, a couple of years younger that like are still like feel comfortable doing all those things. And I have no judgment for them. But like I'm on the other side where it's like, it feels a little antiquated to say, but like these are the parameters for what a man can do. And I feel comfortable in them. I know judgment for people who aren't, but I'm like, but no, that goes against everything. Like I got friends that be posting thirst traps. And I was like, huh? Like what you doing?
Yeah, it's
like male friends who just
no, I know what you mean. And I'm like, yeah, me and you's kind of in the same place. I would be honest with you. My brand, shall we say, because I hate the notion, but you understand this, man. It's it can intimidate some people. You know what I'm saying? I have offered a couple of like thirst traps buried in stuff before.
See, that's the way to do it.
It don't be trapping nobody. It doesn't. If there was a desired effect that I was looking for, it doesn't really work that way. Like I've either one of two things is true. They're not checking for me like that, which I'll be honest, I'd prefer not to believe to be the case.
Yeah.
Either they're not checking for me like that, or I done skirt them.
I think both could be true, but I'm guessing, I don't know what your thirst traps look like, but they sound like they are very conservative thirst traps. And my guess is you run a little bit of an antiquated offense. So yes. so you break out the reverse and think you doing something, and everybody else out here throwing bombs to Tyreek Hill, just shirt off, greased up, flexed right after workout, and you just like show a picture while you laying at the pool or something.
I'm doing. Yeah, you're right. I'm showing I formation. I'm running thirst traps out of the eye. Right, I'm trying to run a thirst trap with a 7-step, two backs, 2 receivers, 21 personnel, 7-step drop.
Go route.
Right. You know what? That's what it is. I'm running play action.
Yeah,
that's what I'm running. It's like in this day and age, I need to be running the hook and ladder to P.A. Sewell. That's what it's gonna take for me to get this done.
The stumble-rooski. Like you got to do a little something else, but you like run the ball on first down, run the ball on second down, third down, play action, guys. Gotcha.
All right, we're gonna come back and talk about some actual playoff stuff on the right time. The NBA is in full swing and the NFL playoffs are right around the corner, which means you could turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite teams only on Prize Picks. You can make a Prize Picks lineup between the NFL and the NBA in as little as 60 seconds. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app. But rather than hearing it from me, let's hear from our expert picker. Sean, how the picks been going for you?
Bo, I believe I'm an expert in losing at the moment because this month has not been the best. But for all my picks, I'm glad the NBA and the NFL is heating up. And knowing I can make picks between both leagues and with the flex play, I can still cash out if my lineup isn't perfect. But as always, make sure you stick around for the end of the show to hear my upcoming picks. And if you know me, you know I'm always going to pick more.
So make sure you go to prizepicks.com/Bomani and use code Bomani for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/Bomani. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Peloton has what you need to keep you on track to your goals no matter what season of life you're in. Peloton helped me recover from my injury, and now I'm back in the gym using all the great stuff Peloton has to offer. Peloton has all sorts of classes depending on how hard you want to train. If you want to take it easy some days, you can take a lighter cycling or cardio class to help you with your recovery. They have programs to keep you on track, from strength training programs you can use at the gym to meditation and yoga for the post-game. Plus, you can always challenge yourself anywhere with Peloton's all-access membership. You can work out where you need to be, like at home, on your bike, tread, and row, or take your favorite classes on the go and at the gym with the app. The app is super convenient, and I genuinely use it every week. And for me, I can really speak to Peloton's wide range of stretching and recovery classes, which are perfect to get my body moving at 100%. So make sure you download the Peloton app. Find your push, find your power with Peloton at onepeloton.com. All right, playoffs coming up. We're going to run through these kind of quick. I have a question for you as the football man in this, which is, am I wrong for thinking the Chargers might be a little bit scarier than people are giving them credit for just because their defense is so good and their quarterback is so talented, although he has not put up numbers to indicate that this year?
You're absolutely not wrong. I mean, I think everybody, all the playoff stories that we have, like upsets, they look obvious after they happen. And those pieces were always there. We just don't have to fully believe it. And I think of the teams that are not considered real threats, if you're looking at any of the teams that you think are not a real threat and you want to say that they would pull off one of those miraculous runs, I think this team kind of has the quarterback, the coach, and the high end, because that defense isn't always good, but the high end version of that defense and pass rushers that can get to them. I think that version, that is the team that you could see keeping games close and winning.
And by the way, they got the new phenomenon at wide receiver over there. That boy Lad McConkey.
Nice, man.
And I want to be clear. I said McConkey. McConkey. McConkey.
Have you seen the pictures of Lad that suggests, like, if you catch Lad at the right angle?
Oh, yeah?
You ain't seen these? Yeah, you catch a Lad at the right angle.
Oh!
Yeah, you catch a Lad at the right angle. I mean, I don't know. Given the last name, I'm not exactly sure where Lad is from, but
he is from Chatsworth, Georgia. The only other McConkey I remember is Phil McConkey, who played for the New York Giants. He was their kick returner. And I remember being a kid on Tecmo Bowl, trying to figure out why that white man was running back kicks, and 2, I found his name to be a hoot.
I mean, especially the way you pronounce it, it gets hootier.
McConkey. Yeah. Like, and see, I think this is something else interesting. I had not really thought about this before. But you and I grew up after, like, in a time period where we were getting the reruns of the 1970s television. And they took a few liberties with what you could get away with saying on the air. And we grew up with television that called, like, George Jefferson out here calling people honkies, right? Like this, it would be ha honky, and then they come back and say something about black people, or this was America's idea of a good time or whatever. I say all that to say, I think there's a whole generation of youth who don't actually know any words used to refer to white people. Because what space would you have other than one? Like, I think saltine and its variants are pretty common across the board. But, like, I can't imagine how antiquated it sounds to call somebody anything that we know as what to call white people.
Yeah, I mean, I think I hadn't given this any thought, but I think cracker survived because it rhymes with something. Like, I mean, or at least it ends with the same sound. Like, I feel like that's there's no place for honky. Like, I mean,
No, it's over.
Yeah, where would you ever use that?
I mean, the same time you would have used it before when some white person has done something that is drawn your ire.
That's a fair point. I don't know the reason for it though. Like, I guess like I understand why cracker, but like I don't know. Well, like what was
I don't know. There used to be a whole list of them for white people. I assure you that I could call a black man of a certain age and rattle them all off. Okay? But somehow white people managed to get all the stuff about them. I don't know how it worked, but they've all been pushed to the side. They ain't got nothing. But don't you worry, brother. They still got enough to call us. They'll never run out.
They will never run out. I'm trying to think of some other ones, which I mean I can't say them if I thought of them anyway, but actually I can. I feel like that's one of the privileges, one of the few privileges, and I'd be happy to trade if you guys want to give me control, give us control of all the levers of power. You can say whatever you want, but until then, I'm gonna be able to say Lad McConkey.
Yeah, Matt Conkey fast, boy. Like that's. I just read a draft profile of Matt Conkey. Says something like he's a polished route runner, which is true, but he also runs a 4.39.
Right. Yeah.
It's like he's kind of what you thought or hoped that Kadarius Toney would be. Exactly. And let me tell you, there would be no more ironic name in the world than Kadarius Matt Conkey.
Kadarius.
Can you imagine? Like, look, if I put a picture up of Kadarius Toney and Lad McConkey, you might not guess that Lad McConkey is Lad McConkey, but you know he ain't Kadarius nothing.
He is not. You made the comment a couple of days ago about Kenny Atkinson, and it's like every time I see him, I'm surprised. It is not new. Every time I see Kenny Atkinson, like, nah. That's a point guard from the Bronx.
Right.
Yeah,
and it's
a point guard from the
basketball.
Bronx. Yeah, Kenny Atkinson, as a point guard from the Bronx. That's who that is.
I wonder what name he put on his applications before he show up for these job interviews. Like, does he have a middle name?
Do you think Kenneth Atkinson would still raise some red flags? He definitely ain't leading with Kenny.
Let me see if he got a middle name. Neil.
Oh yeah, Neil Atkinson. Yeah, we can trust him. We can trust him with our franchise.
Yeah, Neil will do the job. But when he comes in, he's like, "Please, my friends call me Kenny." I'm sure you understand, right? Like I see. I know why you did this. Let's see what else. We got Steelers Ravens on Saturday night too. Now this is interesting to me because we look at the Steelers like they had a free fall, and in reality, they're probably just playing about as good as they've actually been. They almost tricked me with that Russell Wilson thing. I almost fell for it. I did not. But what I do think has happened is Lamar Jackson, who had been flummoxed by the Steelers in pretty much every game he had played against them prior to this last one, he gave it to them the last time they played. I think that is much more a harbinger of things to come.
Yeah, I think you're right. It still sucks as a matchup. I think just because there feels like there are only a couple teams in football that I think can beat the Ravens and would enter a game against the Ravens feeling like they have a legitimate shot. And I think the Steelers fall into that category. Of Lamar's 4 interceptions this year, which is insane, 2 of them were in the Steelers game. And the fumbles and the turnovers seems like it's a deciding factor in a lot of these games for these teams. And the problem is the Steelers are reliant on a guy in Russell who's not as good as you want him to be, and a receiver in Pickens who I mean, that's your number one. Remember, that was the story about how bad their offense is. It's because they lost Pickens. Wait till Pickens get back. And I don't know him personally, but I've seen enough of his on-field stuff compared to other people, and it's pretty clear to me that he's not somebody I would like to rely on. And I think that's a pretty diplomatic way of saying that.
That is the nicest way that you could possibly say this. I look at the Steelers long-term, right? Because I see the questions about Mike Tomlin. And look, it's fair. The last time he won a playoff game, Obama was the president. This is an appropriate thing to bring up. The floor is very high with him. I don't think their limitations on ceiling, though, have had to do with coaching. Now, to me, the biggest indictment of Mike Tomlin as coach no longer is a thing, and that was Bill Belichick used to whoop their ass year after year, and it was very clear which team had a better coach. right? Like he was being outclassed in every way. However, their issue for the last, call it 5 years, has been that they ain't got no real quarterback. Right. They had the tail end of Ben Roethlisberger. They've had whatever these dudes are, and Mike Tomlin make them too good to be able to find some sort of solution to this problem, right? Because even if you think somebody like Sam Darnold is a solution, Sam Darnold showed up in the last game of the year, and I think the same Darnold is going to show up again in the course of this postseason. You can't get a quarterback in the ways that they have to try to get a quarterback, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield, I guess it's where you think we are in the history of the league. There was a time when you could win with a mediocre quarterback, and it was kind of like, it was fine. Yeah, mediocre quarterbacks can win. There was also a time when you could win with a great defense. It feels like we've moved into an era where you need a superstar quarterback. And you're right. Like, ways that you can get a superstar quarterback is pretty slim. They ain't going to be free agents, and it's going to be really unlikely that you're going to find them in the back end of the draft. So I guess that's the question. Is the game the same as it was in the past? Because like Baker Mayfield, I think the resurgence of Sam Darnold are examples. Geno Smith, another one that I mentioned. There are a bunch of guys that I think I would call franchise quarterbacks. They're playing well enough in their situations to be franchise quarterbacks. But is that enough to win a championship? Or is that just enough to get you into the dance? And that's the problem. Getting that quarterback is just, it's so tough to do. It's so random.
And I think teams are learning that you're going to probably need to be a little bit more patient.
Yeah.
With the guys that you have in some cases. Now, you can't give it as long as it took for Sam Darnold to, to make the things happen. But at the same time, remember when people thought that Bryce Young was never going to start again in Carolina? Now, I thought that was a silly thing for people to think on the front end, but except there was a logic behind it. He looks like he can play.
How many guys have gotten that opportunity, and how many times has that happened is what comes to my mind. Is like, what I like about what Mike Tomlin does, or what is generally how I would expect to run these teams. And I think the fairest criticism of Mike Tomlin is how the offenses have been constructed. The problem is you construct those offenses that way because of the limitations at quarterback, but you're never going to get that high-end production if you aren't looking for it, but you also are probably going to lose a lot more games when you're playing a riskier style of offense with quarterbacks that aren't that good. But I guess that would be my argument. It's like, if you want to win a championship, then you're going to have to be a little bit more volatile as far as your play calling and your scheme is concerned. But I hate the idea, and even if you're not doing it consciously, I hate the idea of thinking that you're going to find a savior. This ain't basketball. You're not going to find a savior.
Now, you might find Jalen Hurts, right? If you play things correctly.
Right, but that's I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's my point. Jalen Hurts, that team was good as shit. Like, that's what Mike Tomlin is doing. Keeping a good-ass team and cycling through quarterbacks that haven't had success elsewhere.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But, like, you get Jalen Hurts in the second round, you might be able to make it happen. Now, normally what you do get in the second round is I think there's somewhat of a ceiling on him, but Andy Dalton is another example of a second-round pick made good, where there was a bit of a ceiling. We never got to see how it fully played out when Colin Kaepernick, but that was a dude with an incredible level of talent. But, I mean, they were yards away from winning a Super Bowl, but I do think ultimately we saw a bit of a ceiling, right? And that's what the Steelers are. I think they're going to get their doors blowed off on Saturday, boy. Baltimore look like it's on and popping.
It's timing up really well for the Ravens right now. It's hard to argue that anybody's better than them. But the tough thing, I talked about this on my show, the tough thing about the Chiefs, now that they seem to have the questions answered at tackle, and bringing back Hollywood Brown puts Xavier Worthy in a spot where he needs to be. But the really interesting thing about the Chiefs is when you are in a game and there's something that happens game plan wise, like the defense changes something, or the defense comes into the game with a game plan to take away something that you want to do. You realize that, and then through the course of the game, you might adjust, and then the defense adjusts to that. And that cat and mouse game happens in football a lot. The thing that makes the Chiefs and Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes so particularly interesting is these fools make that adjustment in play. And so, like, when you look at Travis Kelce's routes, you're like, what is that? That's not a route that anyone else runs, in part because he's recognizing the coverage in the strategy en route while Patrick Mahomes is doing that also. So, like, that's why I think that's part of the reason why they're so good in late game situations is if you need a third down, you got to have a third down. That team going to figure out a way to get it. So, like, the Ravens, whoever knocks off the Chiefs, if they do knock off the Chiefs, you don't want it to it's going to be hard for me to imagine it happened because you got that final stop.
If the Chiefs are blocking, they going to win the AFC. Right? Like, I think that was it. And there was, up until recently, there was no reason to think that they were suddenly going to figure out how to start blocking. Right? If they start, I mean, I've told this story many times, but it was that Super Bowl where I didn't bother to do no analysis because they had Patrick Mahomes, and then they ran those linemen on the screen during the Super Bowl, and I was like, I was wrong. And by the way, I did get to witness maybe the best losing performance I have ever seen from a quarter. People have tried to make the argument that we was jumping on his jock and they lost and the numbers were bad. No. I ain't never seen nothing like that before in my life.
You remember? I know you remember the parallel pass.
Yes.
That the man dropped. Can you imagine? Like, if a play like Josh Allen threw that no-look touchdown pass, it was a look-away touchdown pass against the Lions, and it didn't count. And we forgot about it by Tuesday. Patrick Mahomes did that play, and that picture still pop up on the internet every now and then. And that shit, not only did it not count, it was incomplete.
It was a drop.
It was an incomplete pass that he threw into a crowd while levitating on his side.
Hold on. And it was on the money.
And I'll be damned if anybody start talking about you glazing him. Oh, you're damn right. That's a glaze-worthy play. That dude is special, man.
Yeah, I'll be that. You know what I'm saying?
Like, no, you are underappreciating something that's incredible. Don't be so damn masculine that you can't appreciate when somebody else is great.
It ain't always about the bottom line, baby. I'm here for fun, right? I'm in this for a good time. It would have been more fun if they had won the game, but I still was watching that, and I just like I'm hesitant to say it's the best performance I have seen, right? Because we've seen people do other things that are not Reese's Heights or whatever, but I don't think I've ever walked away more impressed by how talented somebody is. At least that quarterback, right? Because there's so many different ways that we could go. But I've never come away being like, oh my God, it's that guy. There's nothing you can show me. Like, he's the best quarterback I've ever seen if he had got hit by a bus the day after that game.
All those hedges and caveats that you were just sharing right there, those was for the listeners. Those ain't for me. No, you could have put a period after the most impressive thing you had ever seen because, I was blown away by it. It's things that we hadn't seen before, and it was a level of get on my back, boys.
Yes, let's go.
That I was amazed by. And he might have already won a Super Bowl. Like, if D4 didn't jump offside, like, this thing could be all the way over, man. His first year as a starter, he was about to win one.
Wow. He's already got 3, right? That would have been 5. They blew that game against Cincinnati in the second half. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, and look, other guys are playing better than him now, right?
Now,
Lamar Jackson has played better than him this season without question. Josh Allen, I would say, has played better than him this season. You might even get me to say that Jared Goff has played better than him this season. Yeah, Joe Burrow. But if you ask me which one I'm taking...
That's for sure. That's because he been on such a fast track, and we could go back through those Super Bowl runs and probably find some reason for him not to win some of the ones that he did win. So I think I get the point that it's not completely fair to add those up. But the crazy thing about where he is in his career, and it feels like they all behave that way in Kansas City, is it's a very NBA style thing. It's like after you won your MVP as a basketball player, we see what happens. We know that all you care about is June and excuse me. And Mahomes is like, you know what? I care about the fourth quarters and I care about the playoffs. And that's a hell of a place to be when what's he, early 30? Like 30?
I don't think he's 30.
No, don't say that, man. Don't say that. He's not even 30. I know Lamar just turned 28, right? Or 29?
He will be 30 on September 17th.
Shut up, man. Shut up.
I saw something, and I've been talked about this for a very long time, and it finally manifested itself. The playoff starters, I want to say 2 of them are 36. Russell Wilson is 36. Who the other old one?
Stafford.
Stafford, yes. Those guys are 36. Somebody else is 30. There's nothing, I think Baker Mayfield. Somebody is 30.
Yeah.
In between, nobody. A whole generation of quarterbacks just didn't happen. Where the survivors of that generation are like Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
It was really closer to, no, Kirk Cousins is not even in that generation. Kirk Cousins is older too. He's Russell Wilson age. But Geno Smith, like those guys, whole generation, quarterbacks lost. Go make a quick turn because I know we're getting a little short on time. Right. But are you still insisting upon being on the wrong side of history by going with the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC?
Yeah, I think I am. I think I am. Because in part because, man, that win that they had against the Vikings, like I feel like an asshole for picking against the sports movie that is taking place in Detroit right now, because that stuff is incredible. Winning that game because of defense is mind-blowing to me. But I think I would relate this back to the Patrick Mahomes conversation that we just had. Is there some things that I refuse to accept that it can be overcome 3 more times against 3 of the best teams that you're going to face. Like, I'm sorry. Somebody going to get your ass. Like, somebody, right?
I just want to bring this point out. Dudes are coming back.
Yeah.
Montgomery's going to be back next game. Anzalone, he's back. By the way, anytime you got a hard-nosed white man as your coach, you going to have so cold-ass white dude as a linebacker. It's going to happen. Buffalo got Milano, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
you know, that's what that's going to be. Well, you know, and then the Eagles, they just like, they breaking the paradigm.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit won it. It sucks that all this stuff has happened to them, but it's just been an impossible season already for them.
But, I mean, look, that hurt they put on Minnesota, I think had a lot to do with Sam Darnold, but it was still like they showed up and they brought it. They going to get a week for some of them dudes to heal. Mm-hmm. Don't let them mess around and get to the Super Bowl and we get Hutch back. Don't let them get Hutch back. Don't let them get Hutch back.
I love it, man. It's so fun. And they get to have everybody at home, and that place is bananas. Graziano was telling me about how they do this thing that I didn't realize they do in there is that people who come with their kids put their kids in lion costumes and then they play the Lion King music and go around the stadium with people holding up their babies, which is just the most awesome thing. I love it.
Tell you, all I'm saying is they only got one team over there that I could say got them. The Eagles are the only team, I think, in the NFC that I would even consider picking against them in a game. And, I mean, I do think that the Lions style of defense would have a serious difficulty with the Eagles, which is to say, manning up on all those dudes when your dudes are dropping like flies. I could see the flaw in that.
AJ is a tough guy for you guys to man up against. And I mean, I think of the defenses that I think have the talent to slow them down, it's just the Eagles are just so well constructed, man. Like that's just what it comes down to. Is there's really no weakness on this team, and their quarterback concussion situation like that should be concerning for their offense. Their limitations that presents to their offense, but they're just so much more talented than everybody else.
I'll tell you this though. They can lose this game.
Yeah. Against
Green Bay. And I know Watson's hurt, but the ceiling on the quarterback they got. Last time I watched that young man play, it was like, oh, that's right. He can do that. Jordan Love can go high.
Yeah. I mean, he can. He's capable, but I ain't got that happening. Man. Like, I got you. Like, I thought they were going to lose to Dallas last year, and he went off in that particular game. So, yeah, it's fair that it could completely happen, and he hasn't been turning the ball over, which is the concern with somebody like him who trusts his arm so much. Mm-hmm. But, man, it's just that versatility, that defense, and Jalen Carter, man, is incredible.
He also battle-tested in them trenches.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The trenches of the NFC North. Having to go
That's
out
fair.
there and battle against the best team in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Having to
And
battle
lose to 'em.
against those Vikings. Yeah, but it was battle tested. Tested. I didn't say they passed all the tests. I said they took the test.
He did take the test. He took the PSAT, so he ready to go in there and take it. He's still gonna get a 720.
That's right. Right. Well, okay. I hear you. Anyway, I tell you this though. I don't care where they play that game. I think the Rams gonna beat the Vikings.
Yeah, you do.
I do.
Yeah, I mean,
Same Darnold.
they beat him earlier in the season too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a little tighter. The thing that gets me is this, and this is why I keep going to Sam Darnold, and I'm not acting like nothing he did this year matters, but the big thing that used to happen to him was panic. He doesn't panic as often now as he used to. But what I feel like I saw in Week 18 is, that's the kind of game where he's going to panic. And if I am not mistaken, he has never played in one of these playoff games before. Yeah. And that means panic is coming before he gets in $60 million a year.
Yeah, it's hard to argue against because we saw, while we want to give a lot of credit to the Lions defense, they deserved the credit, but there were missed opportunities in that game too, which there are going to be opportunities there when you play a blitz-happy man coverage team.
He was ass in that game. I don't know why I always wind up, like Roy tells me about this, how everybody soft pedals it, and then I come in like, here's the truth. I don't know why I always wind up there, but they must have had a good season because Jordan Jefferson was not losing his ever-loving mind.
Yeah, Justin
like he used to with Kirk.
I said Justin Jefferson wasn't losing his mind either.
Oh, damn, gotta do it again. Damn.
Jordan was probably at home pissed.
Let me tell you, and I got an excuse for using Jordan Jefferson because in that game, Sam Darnold was playing like Jordan Jefferson.
There you go. Well done. Yeah.
Purple and gold too.
That's fair. He was ass. I think that's right. I think that's yeah. Never mind. I was going to try to provide some context, some things around it. It's nothing. Like you were right. There were open receivers that he wasn't hitting. Somehow you missed Justin Jefferson's enormous body in the back of the end zone. Like it was tough game for Sam Darnold. And I guess I assume that the coaching will compensate for it, at least against a weaker Rams team, but they could lose that one too.
Yeah, where you got the Bucks and the Commandos.
I'm convincing myself that the Commanders are going to win. I'm trying to. I mean, I think that what it comes down to is Todd Bowles' defense wants to be aggressive and blitz, and Jaden Daniels, the deep ball accuracy and his poise against the blitz. Like he's not a traditional rookie quarterback. I think I'd lean. The Bucs are just more talented, and a lot of the reasons why Baker Mayfield has been good this year is because that O-line is great. I think they'll continue to do the same thing. So if you're really asking me to put some money on it, I think I'm gonna give it a slight edge to the Bucs at home. But I could see Jaden Daniels having the best weekend out of any of the quarterbacks and putting up stupid numbers against a team that's gonna blitz him, and he's gonna make him pay for it with his legs and his arm.
Can I offer a hot take?
Yes.
2024 is the year that I stopped caring about Mike Evans' 1,000-yard receiving streak. It's the 17th game, and y'all got to go for it to make it happen. It's the folly of round numbers. You know what I mean? It's the folly of it. He is a fascinating case to me because 105 touchdowns is probably going to get you in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Everything else, compiling.
Yeah,
it's a lot of compiling. And it's not just because he went to Texas A&M, by the way. He's really good. Like, he has been at the absolute tippy top of tier 2.
I felt bad about it because I was happy he got his money, and it seemed like a fun thing.
Well, for the money, yes.
Yeah, it seemed like a fun thing for all the players to be a part of, but it also rubbed me the wrong way, too, where it was like, I don't know, I think generally this is a broader conversation we may not have time for, but Week 18 got on my nerves, and I'm going to be upset when we go to Week 19 because it feels like this is them chasing money, which, like, I get it. It's fine. But it just feels like a problem that we've seen in other sports. And I know we think it could never happen to football, but we just saw a week where teams were incentivized to lose in a way that, like the Bills in that game, the Chiefs scored 0 points, guys, 0 points. And like, we are getting close Getting close to a
Yeah.
time where people are doing all types of garbage just because y'all trying to sell more games. I hate it.
Well, we're already dealing with the folly of this game, which is you can't play it too much because then you won't be able to play. Right? Like that's why aren't you playing football this week? Because I want to play football next week. Right? It's a little dicey, just the very notion or idea. But there was only one interesting game on for week 18, and it turned out to be terrible.
Yeah. And so I've made this complaint to a couple people, and the pushback is like, no, it's the same as how week 17 was. And I was like, yeah, I know sometimes in the past you had 2 bye weeks or 2 teams get a bye, and we had a few games that didn't matter and people were out of playoffs. But like, I feel like it's mathematically so that if you add an extra game, teams will be out. Like there'll be more teams out of the race, and it'll be more likely to have you're more likely to have a chance to have big enough separations that you will end up with this. So like, I get that we had it in the past, but it felt like it was a smaller thing in the past. And now it felt really big, where the big thing that we were watching, it felt like that week was incentives. Everybody was talking about incentives. I love them. Get your incentives. But y'all was trying to sell to me the reason why I need to watch these games is for players' incentives. I'm not a big fantasy guy, so that ain't do it for me, man. It just was concerning.
And I also personally don't like the expanded playoff. There just aren't that many good teams, guys.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't. Now, granted, I will say in this expanded playoff, what did we get as a result of it? We got Jayden Daniels in, and we got the Chargers in. Like, I do think that we got a couple of interesting teams this go round, but otherwise, man, and actually the Chargers, most of us think are going to beat the Texans because the Texans been looking like cheeks.
And we got,
I tell you, cheeks.
And we got the Bengals being interesting for longer because of that expanded playoff. But like, it just, I don't know.
Hey,
I was fine with it.
Window closed. I think people have completely forgotten what that franchise is. And the only way that the window was going to be open on that team is while it was cheap. They are not going to pay T. Higgins. They have to pay Jamar Chase still, right?
Yep.
I mean, you got to understand, they so cheap, and it's weird because this isn't a cheap thing, but they finally put naming rights on that stadium so they can get the money up for Joe Burrow. Like, their money is the football team. They're not, and like, they play in a completely different game up there. That window is shut.
I don't know if this is in their defense or not, but I'll say there's a difference between being cheap and broke.
Fair.
Yeah, like
well, there's a difference, but two things can be true at once. That was the team that had people reusing jock straps, and I will never forget this. When I was doing game theory, so one thing about doing stuff on TV is there's somebody like we got to like legal note. That's the thing, right? Checking if something is factually the case or whatever or like legal note. And my guy Ted Ross, love him to death. Ted would say things like one time I had a line in there that said you can't hide money, and Ted goes legal note. Money can be hidden. And I was like, well, Ted, is money going to sue us for saying that it's going to be hidden? Right. But that's how thorough it is. I said the thing about the jock straps, and Ted went over there and looked it up. And I remember the look on his face when he realized, wait a minute, that really happened?
Yeah.
Yes. They was out there reusing jock straps. I know of an NBA team that I was told was charging players for Gatorade.
I know I've heard that before, where you, because they're just free and out there, you snatch them up. And you find out later. Yeah,
they treat your shit like them Amazon stores where you walk out and run your credit card.
I mean, the thing is too, like, I don't know any football team that's ever done that, but like the money is different in football, and then there's practice squad guys. So every team I've ever been on, they're guys who use the facility as a place to go shopping.
Yes.
Because they ain't got that money, so they throw a bunch of Gatorades in their bag. They will be crushed if they can show up to get their little check and half of it's gone because somebody was clocking out all the Gatorades they were stealing.
Yeah, let me tell you what else is happening too, though, when people make them runs. Part of that is they got no money. The other part is, hey, man, sometimes, depending on what you've been doing that night, you don't feel like going to the store. It's good to have snacks and refreshments on deck.
That is fair.
You know, that's like at the desk at the DoubleTree. I got money, but let me get another one of those cookies, big dog.
They don't, and like it was openly done. Like guys would just walk in there with a bag and just like swipe them in. And I mean, these are oftentimes guys who are like undrafted or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I would just be embarrassed, which like,
yo, I hear you, but you sound like a man that's never been in graduate school. This is what I realized in hearing that. You You've talked about how you never played for a losing team before, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You have also never been a broke adult.
Yeah, that's
right.
true.
And even in the early stages of adult, where most of us get to be broke adult, you've never been a broke adult. And my first year in graduate school, I have never been that broke. That's when I realized how good I had it growing up. Because if this is what broke felt like, I can't even begin to start conceptualizing poor, right? And so we would just be like, me and my mans, we'd be sneaking in elementary school to Claremont Graduate University, but there was a consortium of schools.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would sneak into cafeterias, get people to like swipe us in, whatever. But we had just got there. Nobody really knew us. And so when I got there, I didn't have a place to stay. My man had a place to stay. He didn't have money. I had a little cash. I filled up the fridge, all that. We developed a rapport. And then it reached a point where he didn't have money, I didn't have money, and we was just in it together because we were black people in Claremont. And we tried to get some girl to sneak us in the cafeteria, and she didn't. And I ain't gonna lie, man, felt like some real sellout shit. So we left there, and we walking, and I'll never forget, man, I looked up, and I saw these steam trays. It was like an oasis, bro. It had like an aura over it. It was like, oh, and my man is jibber jabbering about something. I'm like, bruh, and he keep talking. I'm like, bruh, elbow him, and I pointed, and he had lived a different life to me, man. I had never met anybody at that point in my life that was more dedicated to getting over on what it is. He's come a long way, man. So it was like a room that was coming straight this way that had a door open. And right to the left of it, perpendicular to that, was a wall, and the steam trays were along their wall. And then there was like a little wall right here. Man, my partner put his back against that wall, started reaching around the corner. It was like teriyaki chicken and stuff. And we just started just taking. We was just looking and grabbing. We was so broken. So we was walking around across campus, eating while we walk. In case they caught us, it wouldn't be no evidence, man. Just eat. Any event that we went to that year, bro, if they had food, we was taking it out of there. Like, yo, y'all got some Tupperware? Can I get this? And we was making that work, bro. You just ain't been there. Where
you're right.
You
I'm
think you be too
privilege.
proud.
Yeah, no. I get it. No, I heard that story, and I understand that the problem was I had an option at that point.
Yes.
Like, and we were in a place where it was clear delineations. Like, no, this is for them. And I was like, oh no, that ain't for me. That ain't for me. So if I was one of them, which like I remember in college, yeah, we ran some games in college every now and then.
Yes.
But yeah, at that point in my life, I was like, ooh.
But I thought when I got out of college, I was past those days, and I was incorrect. Yeah. I was no. It was, we was making it happen. We was.
You said you remembered the time when you realized that you had it good. It's a slightly different story, but when I was in high school, I remember one time my parents were late to pick me up from practice, and I was there with a couple other kids, and they was like, "Oh yeah, I'm always here." Hour late, 45 minutes. Like, sometimes my mom forget. It don't never, like, sometimes I gotta call somebody else to get me home. And I was like, oh, what? Like, I just had to, like, no. You know what parents do? They pick your ass up on time from you when you are done practice. What the hell? And I was shocked.
That's like my daddy talking about the boy on the street who studied, who would say, Santa gonna get here before New Year.
Oh,
that's right. Santa will get here before New Year. He's on the way.
That's crazy.
Perhaps he got caught in traffic.
That's crazy. Just thinking about how people got different expectations of Santa. It was like, yeah, my kid's Santa believe that Santa can do everything. Well, I don't know what it's like. They don't know what it's like to have a Santa with limitations.
No, this more for another day. But I remember my mama talked about they grew up believing in Santa. Their house had no chimney, and I said, "Well, how did Santa come in?" She said, "The front door." Santa had a key.
Yeah, we ain't had no chimney either. But when I was a kid, but I never like, are the gifts showing up? I never even got to the second level of that question. Like, I don't know, the shit's here. So obviously Santa figured it out. That ain't my problem. That's Santa's problem.
Yeah, no. We never had a Santa in our house. I don't know if they had one in the early years. I think two things. One, they may have made the decision that I would have seen through the roost on Santa. And number two, and I think this is very important, even if I had not seen through the roost, I assure you, my sister would not have missed the opportunity to ruin the idea of Santa Claus. Don't you worry. There's no way in the world she would have passed up that chance.
I don't ever remember like sincerely believing in it. Like I remember being like in elementary school and just like everybody kind of knew and said it. Like, I don't know. It was just me and my older brother, and we ain't need that charade. We would say it because that's what you do, but
they pulled me to the side in 3rd grade and told me that there was no need to tell my friends that Santa Claus was a myth.
Yeah, of course.
I contend by 3rd grade, you should have been hip to game.
Yeah, I think most people figure it out, man. Or just don't ask any questions. I don't ever remember it. Like, I remember playing along with it because that's what you do, but I never remember being like, oh, really?
I guess it is fair to ask, though, if, like, why would you care how the stuff got here?
Yeah, that was... If y'all want to tell me that it's Santa, then cool. Tell me it's Santa. Is my Sega Genesis here?
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you what I wish. I wish I could go to sleep and wake up one day and there's be a bunch of shit in my living room. That would be amazing. I did the Santa thing all wrong now that I look back on it.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, what a time. But that is Domonique Foxworth. Check him out on the Domonique Foxworth Show, which will be doing a live show January 15th in New York City. I will be there. Dan Graziano, Jeff Saturday, the homie Charlie Kravitz. I believe Big Golf coming down for the show.
Yep, Big Golf gonna be there.
Congratulations, Big Golf. Big Golf is Mr. Golf now.
Yeah, it is. I'm looking forward to the show. That's all I got to say. Y'all should be there. I actually don't think there are that many tickets left. I think at the moment I got an email yesterday saying that there was like 7 or 8 tickets left. So
no, go ahead and check it out. If you were there when Domonique and I did the Right Time Live, it's the same people producing that did this for our show. So it should be a great time. I'm looking forward to seeing them. I might meet 1 or 2 of you. So come on through. I appreciate you, brother.
Always, my man.
All right, Sean, you got prize picks for the people?
I do. Big Saturday slate of football. Let's go Lad McConkey, as you guys are calling him.
McConkey.
I'll take more on his receiving total, 73.5 yards. J.K. Dobbins, 0.5 rush reception touchdowns. I'll take more. Pat Freiermuth in the Steelers versus Ravens game, 45.5 receiving yards. I'll take more there. And Derrick Henry, he's going to score a touchdown. And those are my picks for this Saturday slate of football.
All right. I appreciate you, man. Stay safe. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. That is Sean Yu. He handles everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Also, call the voicemail line, 323-596-7767. What is the brokest thing you ever had to do? However you define brokenness, you know what I mean. 323-596-7767. Remember, follow The Right Time. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. We'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.